Alright, my name is Mike Winger. Obviously, you all know me. On the left here, you can see this is the M-Phase energy panel for the Project 2 that we had to do. So, the interesting part that I encountered, a couple different things. I haven't really worked with rotated text before, and I didn't realize how much of a pain it is to move it around and make it align. So I had a fun time getting this aligned. As you can see, I tried to get very close to having the top of the text here aligned with the actual information. And as you can see on the right hand side over here is my text editing. This is the code that belongs to the M-Phase panel. Realistically, all it takes to get this information into the page, that's all three of these output lines here. It's fairly simple. Then after that, it's just a bunch of styling. Here's my my headers with the rotating. I had to do top and left weird and padding right and a whole bunch of strange things. So I scoured through Google Font rather, and both of these fonts they are unique, and they're not really unique, but they're specific to Google Fonts, and I really enjoyed getting them in there because it makes it look a bit more techy. Anyway, it suits the theme, and I'm really happy with how this turned out, especially with this being normal text instead of having to resort to an image. Fought with it a bit, but had a lot of fun with it. And as far as the graph goes, that is completely custom actually, and there were a few complications with it because in order to get everything aligned and repeating properly, calculating the heights, like how much value there is, it's a lot of math, it's a lot of strangeness. So I wanted to make it malleable for the future. So the colors, each one of these, like the background color, this is the actual gray here that you're seeing, and the axis color, that dictates what color the border is, y-axis and x-axis font color. Again, all of these you can change the colors up, and if you save it and hit refresh, it'll update the graph. It's all meant to pull from these settings. Same with the graph data. You can control how much padding is on the top and the right hand side here, what the width and the height of the actual graph is. The y-axis count, you can make it so that you can change how many repeating items there are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So obviously, like it counts from upwards of 0, and then text margin is the area for this text. Yeah, it was quite interesting. I had a bit of an interesting time trying to figure out how to graph these properly. Each bar you're seeing here is a representation of the individual days of how much power was pulled in on each day for the actual carport energy system. So what I did was I looped through each of the 7 days and determined which was the highest. Where is that? Yeah, the max y-axis value. So you just check for each day power if it's greater than the current value that you're holding as known max, then you just update it, and that gets you the top y-axis value, and then I multiplied it by 15% so that you've always got a gap at the top of the graph. Makes it a bit more organized that way. And then by the same token, you use that max y-axis value to graph out the plot points on the right hand side, and I believe that's this here. Yeah, so this is the labels on the left hand side here, as well as the lines to make it clearer as to how high these different points, where they line up rather. And yeah, it's just a whole bunch of math. So you've got like the data origin x variable there is the bottom left of the graph, so I can push it up, move it around, whatever I want to do, and each of these calculations makes use of that. Yeah, I had a really fun time with it. Some things that I probably could have done better in the future. Um, Obviously, there are libraries for graphs out there. Just a little sponsorship there. Uh, there are libraries such as HighCharts that make it way easier to work with graphs if you're ever curious about doing that. Um, I don't know, I'd say the entire thing went pretty smoothly. I didn't really have a whole lot of issue with it, and I mean, I don't know. There's it all went together pretty smoothly. I would say that for rotating the text on the left-hand side here, that label was a rather pain to get all the labels determined properly. I think it would have helped me to plan out what I wanted my graph to look like first off, because I didn't do that. I just kind of hacked it together as I went, and obviously that ends up, you're never really sure what it's going to turn out as when you do that. So especially when you're putting together something that requires a lot of calculations, a lot of intricate pieces that work together, figure out what it's going to look like first, and you won't end up having to go back and fix up the different components. Anyway, that wraps up my project to display. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'm always willing to go into detail about how I put this together. Yeah. Anyway, enjoy the fact that we are now graduates.